Hey, how's it going, everyone? Brad Smith here with HealthLink. Today I'm joined with Scott Corliss. How are you today, Scott?
I'm great, thank you.
Hey, guys, my name's Brad Smith, owner, founder of HealthLink. And what we specialize in is online business, online websites, and making sure you're getting more sales from your online presence without having to pay extra for marketing. So, Scott, go ahead and introduce yourself also.
Thank you. My name is Scott Corliss. I'm the president of Business Advancement Systems Experts, otherwise known as BASE. We are a full service management consulting um, and support firm for health and fitness operators across the United States and some internationally.
Yeah, and if you're watching this video, Scott and I wanted to put this together. If you're watching, this is made for somebody that's in a franchise or some sort of franchise system, and you're just want to get out of it, move on to your own business, and make that switch over. This video is definitely for you. Scott specializes in face-to-face interactions in the consulting, helping you make that switch and that transition. And then HealthLink and we come in and we make that transition easy for you switching from your website over to your own website, or the franchise website to your own. So Scott, why would somebody want to get out of a franchise or affiliate situation that they're in and try to go out on their own? What's the main reason you usually see?
A lot of times it has to do with cost, but not always. What we're finding is the large franchises and the large boxes and the large brands don't have the pull that they used to have. I certainly saw this as a vice president for the Gold's Gym Corporation. We would lose franchises that, uh, quite frankly, to my experience, didn't seem any worse for wear when they changed the name. I think the big boxes and the big franchises were more of a draw in the past than they are now, or that they will be in the future. And some folks just don't want to pay the licensing or franchising fees for what they see in many instances as a declining benefit.
Yeah, I could see it being intimidating or someone being nervous making that switch. You might have something that has been working for a long time, or you think that people are coming to you because of the affiliate or franchise you're with. What happens when you start your own brand, your own business? Will those people still come and still work with you? One thing I see that's positive is you still have those personal relationships that you've built in your facility with your clients. Even if you switch the name, I think you still can keep that personal relationship with the clients you already have.
Yes, it's very important to do 4 or 5 things right to keep things from going very badly. The first is don't surprise your members, don't surprise your customers. Let them know it's coming early and often, and explain to them the reasons why you're making the switch. I'm currently working with a firm that is debranding from a national chain at this very minute. Over the next several months, it'll be complete in October, and we started talking with members in April.
Wow. Do
So
members
you don't want
understand?
any surprise. Yes, they do. The positives have so far outweighed the negatives. In this case, it was a national chain, and the owners feel that they're just not really receiving the value that they used to that particular brand. And what we're finding is that people, they don't care as much. If you're certainly your current members, they're fine. Just don't shock them. Make sure that you understand that they are going to be concerned with what their needs are. And that means, are you still providing the same services? Do you still have the same value? What's changing? Change is never fun for anybody. But doing this well in advance and getting out in front of it is really 75% of doing it right when it comes to your members. And I think we'll attract, actually, we're seeing some of these smaller changes attract a wider membership base, especially moving away from what has been perceived as kind of a macho national chain, which is the case that I'm speaking of at the moment.
Now, when they tell their customers, is that like face to face, or is it through email that you recommend?
It's face to face is best. It's the ones that are checking in, saying, no, hey, we're going to be changing our name, but we're not going to be changing any of the great service. Branding is not just a logo. I'll get into a couple of things that have to be done correctly there too. But as far as notifying the members, every single way possible. Start with the face-to-face, followed up with an email, eventually a mailer, just announcing that it's coming. And if you can add a couple of new things, even if it's small, a couple of pieces of equipment, something can go along so it doesn't look like you just spent all your money on new signs. It will be kind of a positive change rather than just, oh yeah, they changed the name and now I can't go to the affiliate in Texas, right? It also gives you 6 months, gives you time to establish relationships. This particular facility has some relationships with some other gyms in the area, and we'll be able to forge an alliance with affiliation, um, irrespective of a national brand.
Yeah, there's also affiliate gyms out there. The yearly or monthly fee might not be that much, but then they're even associated with injuries or bad results at other places, so it reflects on them. I think if you decide to go out on your own, you're losing that name. But if your members are with you, if you've warned them, if you already have, I know you already have a relationship with your members. It should be a pretty easy transition if you stick to those points and warn everyone ahead of time. You said you had about five different things. First one was letting members know early and often. What are some other things?
Second one is don't let your new brand and logo look like it was designed by committee, even though of course it will be. Stay away from what sounds fun because it's part of your name. Try not to own too much of it personally, because just because it sounds great to you and to your wife doesn't mean it's going to be marketable. Make sure that everything from the logo to the branding to the communications are all based upon what you're trying to project as your current and future product and services. Simply being a catchy name but having no tie-in to what you're offering is a mistake. So there's a couple things right there. Hire somebody who's done it before, so that you make sure you stay out of trouble. Make sure it's legal. Don't just grab a name without doing research, spend the money. It doesn't cost a lot to get that searched and have you really an attorney help you through it. It doesn't take a tremendous amount of work. Strategize your marketing for this. Don't just change the name and send out a mailer. There has to be a whole strategy built a little bit in advance. Again, starting with notifying the members first, of course. Next, make sure that you have a plan for all. This is a great reset. Okay, and what I mean by that is sometimes you've got things that you've wanted to change about your business for a while. Maybe it's an underperforming sales program. Maybe it's a personal training program. Maybe it's just sloppy management or anything that you've wanted as an owner to fix. This is like a reset button, and it's an opportunity not to be wasted. So if you have got somebody helping you manage this change, you can reestablish expectations. You can reestablish what the company goals are. It's sort of like getting a new credit file. You can go right or wrong with it right off the bat, but this will give you an opportunity to implement some new things. And that's one of the things that we do is we implement these systems and tracking systems and monitoring and revenue systems. And this is a great chance for a fresh start, as long as it's done properly.
I want to touch on the branding part. Getting an outside opinion like a consultant like yourself or a website team to help you, getting that second opinion on your business name and your brand, I think will definitely help. And on the website part, you're going to be switching over to your own website, your own online business, but you also need to make sure you have the right keywords in there for not only the city that you're in, the business that you offer, and offerings you will have. You have to be prepared to be ready for Google and the search engines and social media for anybody in your area searching for your keywords. If you have some random off the wall name, Monkey Fitness, nobody's searching for Monkey Fitness, which I've seen. So what we recommend is definitely have your city name or the exact offerings you have. Our website here in St. Pete, Private Personal Training St. Pete is the name of our website, and that's generating tons of new clients every week. We have what we offer and the city we're in all on our website. So getting an outside source like a consultant to just look it over, I think is definitely recommended. And getting a couple tips and keeping your options in mind open. It's something that's going to work for your future.
It's something that you really can't do yourself in most cases. Most of these owners are not IT professionals, and most of them are not social marketing professionals. We bring people to folks such as yourself for that reason. I certainly can't do it myself. I know what needs to be done. But you've got to have somebody to, this has to be a hit on social media, and it has to be done right from the beginning. Are you going to change your name again 3 months down the road when nobody responds? That's why it has to be started out properly. If you look at, just to take an example, the CrossFit phenomenon, I went from, I mean, this guy had been doing it since I think 1996, but social media blew it up. Things such as similar just workouts on a really just old chinky old website, didn't do anything, right? Just a chintzy little thing. And now it's just blown up to the fact that people fly all over the country to do these competitions. That particular business model really, I think, just went exponentially because of social media. So you've got to have your page set up. You've got to have your Facebook set up. You've got to have your Instagram. You've got to have these things all tied together so that you can create a buzz. And it's just so much less expensive than buying full page newspaper ads and 30-second TV and radio spots.
Yeah, definitely. Now I know people have to get their hands dirty too. They can't just change it and then leave it be. So I know you have a couple more points for us, and I'm sure it's going to get into getting your hands dirty and making sure that this is effective.
Yes, it's great if they can see a visible ownership. And what I mean by that is that the guy that's writing the checks or the lady that's writing the checks needs to be at that desk as well during the initial announcements and letting people know, hey, this is why I'm doing this. This is a business model change that will only help you because we're going to have more members and we're going to be even a more solid company, but we're not going to have this name anymore. If that's a positive. If you're doing it simply because you need to save the revenue, you're going to have to put a little bit of a different spin on that as well. Very important, though, that you understand that marketing is not just a launch. You're going to have to continue to market this change. You're going to need to continually have your customers help you market it. So when they remember that when they are joining your new web page and they're liking your new Facebook page, those posts are going to be very important. There's only so much you can do. But when you get the whole crowd involved and you get all kinds of people switching over and liking this page and this website, that's going to be extremely important for you to get that name out there. It's a constant process. The marketing of this will always go on, and you're going to have to continue to refine what your new brand really is. So what products and services are you offering, and how does that tie in to your new company name?
Yeah, building relationships with your clients is something we've always believed in. From the website part, we always try to make clients be able to build a relationship with the general manager or the trainers or the owner right through the website, just to transfer them over to coming in your front doors. You know, how important and then how hard is it to get a gym owner to build relationships with the clients in their gym or their facility? Is that pretty tough that you see most often, or?
All over the spectrum. So I have some that are actually at that desk because they love it. I have others that own it as an investment and are never there. And so that manager has to be the de facto owner and the principal of the business. And so as long as they're versed, sadly, a lot at that level are not versed in how to do this. They don't really know how to rebrand. And so they're caught flat-footed just trying to explain why they changed the name. So yeah, sure. Owner involvement is wonderful, but we're only seeing it 50% of the time because a lot of folks own these as investments.
I think the next point is going to be staff, which leads, from the owner into the staff. I mean, we just worked with a gym together whose general manager is interacting with the clients. He's communicating with them on the website. He's building those relationships with them online and in person. So how important is it to have a great staff behind you? And maybe even when you're switching the brand and name, if you have some people you need to get rid of, now that would be the best time. Bring in some people to really build up your company and build those relationships for you if you, the owner, can't be there every day.
Right. Well, in our business, your staff is your brand. So if you're going to just change the name and you've got underperforming employees or people who aren't bought in, the members will determine how they feel about your brand. And that is your reality, irrespective of what you thought about at the dinner table. If somebody thinks you have great service, then they're going to think your new name is great. If you have lousy people, and there's not a name you can possibly slap on there that's going to work. Look at the big box names, franchises that have fallen in certain markets and actually hurt the name of the brand because of a poor operator. So yes, again, that reset button, changing out some staff, you can't do. It's got to be done all in one shot. You can't. It's not a trickle process. You may prepare for it for 6 months, but then there's going to be a day when everybody has new shirts and everybody has new procedures, if need be, where the sign has been changed, where there's a big party, a big grand opening party. I mean, it needs to be like a bomb going off. It just doesn't show the 6 months of preparation beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. Now, one thing I want to touch on, relationships, switching things up when you switch the name is your online reviews. You see a lot of businesses, the reasoning behind switching your franchise or affiliation is because you want to start fresh. Maybe you were losing money, you weren't, or maybe you were stale, staying the same, or you're getting bad reviews and the customers weren't happy. One thing I definitely recommend is you might have some bad reviews on Google or your social media pages, but once you start fresh, make sure you get at least 5 new reviews on that page, because they might see a 4.5 out of 5-star rating, but they're going to click and they're only going to read up to the first 5 reviews there. So if the first 5 reviews are 5 out of 5-star ratings, they're going to get good feedback. They're going to see what other customers are saying recently and not in the past, and they're not really going to worry about that 4.5 or 4 that they saw at the beginning. They're going to believe those latest 5 testimonials, what they're going to expect when they come into your gym or facility.
No, that's a great point, because the last thing you'd want is the first review on there not to be one that you weren't fairly sure of the outcome.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like cheating and packing the system, but come on, it only takes one or two tough ones to really have difficulty with it. And how you respond, this is a whole other subject, but how you respond to bad reviews, that's all over the spectrum too. It's amazing some of the things that you can see out there with respect to the responses. But sure, absolutely, the first 5 or 6 on there, I don't know if I've ever read past the 5th review, unless I was really trying to search for something bad just to see what the other side was saying.
And it definitely helps when you see the business owner's response. If there is a negative review, make sure you respond to not only the positive by thanking them for taking the time out of their day, which most people, they're not focused on your business. So it's hard to get somebody to take time out of their day to leave you a good review. When someone leaves you a good one, make sure you thank them, give them a free training session or something, and maybe they'll refer someone from there. But if there's a negative review, make sure you respond to it. Do whatever you can to work it out. But just showing that you responded and took the time and cared, I think that goes a long way with the review portion.
And there's no point in litigating it on social media. You're not going to convince anybody, especially the person that complained. It's better to just acknowledge that they were unhappy, tell them you're really sorry for their experience. Please contact you personally, but don't argue, because you're just not going to win.
Yeah, you're right about that. Now let's talk about a little bit of the sales process. If, say, you're losing money or you're staying the same, you're really wanting to grow your business, that's probably the main reason for wanting to switch your business name or get out of a franchise, is because you're probably losing money or not seeing the results that you were hoping for. What kind of experience or results have you seen in the past? Somebody going out on their own, getting a consultant, taking all the right steps, these 5 right steps, and then what are some results that you've seen?
Well, I've seen just recently somebody drop the couple thousand a month that they were spending in franchise fees, and then attract another probably 7-8% more business per month from people who said they just had shied away because of the name. And in this case, and it was in California, but in this case, this operator, he wasn't the problem, but there was someone else operating the same brand 30 minutes away, which is nothing anymore, especially with social media. And so they had some trouble living down that name. And so, because they did it right, they were prepared. Everybody understood, and instead of taking a hit, they actually had growth. They had growth because they were attracting clients that had stayed away prior to, assuming that they were part of the same operation that had had a bad reputation. There's one that I'm working on now where we don't have that same situation at all, but uh, by doing it properly, we fully expect sales to increase because we expect to see a broader swath of the marketplace. It's a new name. We'll capitalize on the newness of it, which everybody likes something new. And because the members won't be upset, there's really nowhere to go but up. Plus the savings, of course, in fees. I mean,
Yeah,
the fees can
definitely.
add up.
Now, as a consultant and going into their business, do you do a lot of your work on over the phone, or do you like to go into the facility and try to help them out?
I can only do things really effectively by phone and webinar I once I've been there. I mean, if it's just report analysis and doing some training and sending, doing webinars, of course there's help to that. But if it was something big like a rebranding, then I'd want to be there for a couple weeks, a couple different times over a few months to get that started, to do a market analysis and to really get to know the staff and then train them in person. And this is, again, if you get this wrong, the next rebranding will be when somebody else owns it. So it's not, you don't get a second shot. And so I find it best to work with people one-on-one, directly. You look them in the eye, teach them something, explain something, and it also helps implement it so that if it needs to be tweaked, they don't just tend to throw the new system out and say, oh, well, that won't work here. So yes, we would prefer to be there for some of this, at least at the outset. And then, of course, you get all the things installed and all the reporting installed, and then you can get out there once a quarter or so and spend a couple of days. And that's usually all that takes.
Now, we always like to try to get our hands dirty first, try it on our own first, or maybe that's what got you into the situation. If you're losing money or you just couldn't perfect your process and keep growing, you need to get out of the franchise or affiliation. I always recommend a mentor. I mean, I'm sure you had one. I had one for the website business. He helped me out. He grew it. He taught me. He got his hands dirty with me. Ended up getting me one or two new paying clients every week without me ever having to pay for marketing. All because I had a guy overhead that knew more than me. I asked him for help, and he was willing to help me. That is what made me successful. And I'm sure you've had mentors also. But when you are in a point where you're either desperate, you're losing money, you need that change, that's the best time to get a mentor or someone to consult you and just really help you with the process.
Yes, and two things get in the way of that sometimes: ego and fear. It's hard to say, well, I made a mess of this, I need some help. Or maybe I didn't make a mess of it, but maybe it's an investment that's just not working and we need some help. Nobody likes to have to admit that. I'm not sure why, because everybody needs help with something. Nobody just got on a bicycle the first time and started pedaling down the street. So, but that is tough. And then the fear, of course, in that it's just a fear of change. You're losing money. It's not performing the way you want it to. And yet the fear that you have the most is that it'll get worse. Well, okay. I guess that's legitimate. Don't just go at it or hire anybody willy-nilly and just pray that things will get better. That's not going to work. But yes, it's the fear of change and then the egos. Those are the two biggest blocks. You got to look at it this way: it's keeping you up at night. It's not working. You're not happy with it. You don't have as much to lose as maybe you think.
Yeah, well, those are some great points.
You have everything to lose if you just keep going the way you are.
Yeah, if someone's to this point, they definitely need help. I think you definitely could use some mentor, some consultant, whether it's Scott or somebody else that you might know. I think if you're to this point, all these, hopefully we brought you some value, taught you some things, but most importantly, just ask for help, whether it's paying somebody to help you, getting someone you already know to help you, but just asking for someone's outside opinion to get you on the right steps. you're, at this point in the video, I think now's the time to do that. So Scott, I know you offer something really special, a 1 hour free consultation. Is that something you could offer to somebody that's at this point in this video?
Sure, absolutely, we would. It is exactly that. It's an hour. It's a consultation. Does it sometimes go longer? Yeah, it sometimes goes a little longer, but it won't be shorter unless you want it to be. It's not. I will say this: it's not a sales pitch. If there's some things that we can do to help, and you think that's viable, happy to do it. But for all of the people that would be watching this video and any of your people, we'd do a full 1 hour consultation, and that would be with me. I do those myself. That could be on anything from your P&Ls to release negotiation to sales and revenue systems or whatever you'd like. We sign non-disclosure agreements, and we keep like to speak to us about further involvement. That's great, but that's not the focus. We find it best just to get the information out there, and we generally have people that receive it very well.
Okay. Now, Scott, can you explain the 1 hour consultation again, just because the video cut out?
Well, that's perfect. So I got a chance to try it again. Okay. It's an hour, sometimes an hour and 15. It's usually never less than an hour. It can be on any topic that the owner wishes to discuss. It could be on today's topic of rebranding. It could be on revenue streams. It could be an analysis of their P&Ls or their leases or negotiations on opening a new lease. I mean, it really could be any facet of the industry. I handle these myself, and it's not a sales pitch. I'm not going to say that we've never had somebody want to hire us after one of these consultations, and of course that is available. But you don't know when you start this if there's anything we can do to help. So it doesn't cost anything. It's worth about $175, which is what we charge for subsequent ones. But it's completely free, and we sign non-disclosure agreements, to make sure that everything's confidential.
That's great. Now, something Helcom can offer on the online part is when you're switching your name, switching businesses, you need everyone to know what you're doing. You need to give them that message, where you're located, what you're offering. So what we will do, if you've made it to this part in the video, is offer a free video interview similar to this, where we're going to interview you, get the business owner's name, get your where you're located, and then bring some value to your business, have you explaining why you're switching the name, what the new business name is called, how somebody can reach you. So definitely recommend reaching out to Scott. From there, we can connect for the interview, and we're here to help you in any way. So we hope you guys leave a comment under the video. If you have any questions, make sure you go to the website to book the free consultation with Scott. Scott, what's a good link for them to go and schedule that consultation?
They can just go to my website, which is very simple. It's Baserev, BASEREV, as in Victor, baserev.com. And if they go there, there will be plenty of different places where they can either sign up or read some blogs or sign up for a newsletter. And it has the enrollment form for the consultation, which I need to work on, and I'll get you to help me with some of that.
Yeah, and if you guys make it to Scott's website, definitely check it out. You'll see some of our things that we introduce. They'll have some live chats. You can speak with him right on his website, and you'll be able to see some samples of what we'd be able to set up for your website and how you can build relationships with somebody online, which is, we think, is the hardest thing to do. Build a relationship on the website to get them in your doors. We say about 90 to 95% of people that visit your website never sign up. So the websites that we're working with now just allow you to build relationships and just make the sign up process a lot easier, and help you sign up more customers and build more revenue.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. All right. Well, Scott, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you guys for watching the end of this webinar. Make sure you click the links, and we will be speaking with you soon.